Investigators ever speak to you about what you saw that day?
No, sir.
Really?
Okay.
Cops have not talked to you yet. It's odd to me.
Just to gather information.
Yeah,
as
that
part
the
of their
cops wouldn't have
investigation.
contacted you, yeah.
As the investigation into the mysterious death of Nolan Wells continues, increasing attention is being directed toward the Jackson County Sheriff's Department in Mississippi, the agency leading the effort to determine exactly what happened. Now, 7 days after Wells was first reported missing, several major questions remain unanswered. As we previously reported, 2 of Wells' friends spoke with a local news outlet on the day his body was discovered. During that interview, Javon Williams revealed that he was originally supposed to be on the same boat as Nolan, confirmed that he saw Nolan on the island, and also stated that a fight broke out there, although he does not believe Nolan was directly involved. Despite being someone many would consider an important witness in a thorough investigation, Williams said that even a week after his friend's disappearance, investigators still had not contacted him. Then, during a Friday interview with TMZ, Williams spoke with Harvey Levin, who practiced as an attorney for nearly 20 years before becoming a journalist, to answer several questions about his connection to the case. As Levin questioned Javon about the situation, he appeared genuinely surprised on air after learning that the Jackson County Sheriff's Department had still not reached out for a statement, even though Williams has publicly said he was on the island, saw Nolan there, and knew the group of young men Nolan traveled with.
So they're still investigating. Did any investigators ever speak to you about what you saw that day?
No, sir.
Really?
Okay.
Cops have not talked to you yet.
No, sir. I don't see why the cops would have to talk to me.
I'll tell you why I'm surprised. Because you knew Nolan well, and you knew that he was friends with these guys who were the last ones to be around him. I would think they would at least want to know, hey, just the things we're asking.
Right.
It's odd to me.
Just to gather information.
Yeah,
as
that
part
the
of their
cops wouldn't have
investigation.
contacted you, yeah.
As for Harvey Levin, one thing clearly caught him off guard during the interview. He openly expressed surprise that investigators still had not reached out to Javon Williams, considering everything Williams had already shared publicly. Levin questioned why someone with first-hand knowledge of the events had not been formally interviewed. It was a moment that immediately stood out and quickly became one of the biggest talking points surrounding the case. Beyond Harvey's reaction, many viewers who watched the interview shared similar concerns. After the Jackson County Sheriff's Department stated that it intended to conduct a thorough investigation, a number of people questioned why someone like Williams had not yet been approached for a statement. That detail alone sparked a wave of discussion online, with many wondering whether investigators had spoken to everyone who might have important information. One commenter wrote, "The fact that the police haven't reached out to this kid tells me they aren't really trying to get to the bottom of what actually happened." Another person reacting to Javon's interview on Facebook pointed out that Nolan Wells' best friend had described a hostile confrontation that reportedly occurred on Horn Island the day Nolan disappeared. Although Williams made it clear that he did not believe Nolan himself was involved in that altercation, the commenter found it surprising that someone sharing those details publicly had still not been contacted by investigators. As those reactions continued spreading across social media, some people began speculating that authorities could be mishandling the investigation or even attempting to protect a particular narrative. It's important to note that these are opinions expressed online and have not been supported by official evidence. Still, they have become part of the broader public conversation as people continue searching for answers. One investigative concept that is sometimes discussed in criminal justice is something known as tunnel vision. The term refers to situations where investigators become heavily focused on one explanation or theory early in a case, potentially causing other leads or witnesses to receive less attention than they otherwise might. Experts have long warned that tunnel vision can create blind spots during investigations if alternative possibilities are not fully explored. However, there is no confirmed evidence that this is what has happened in Nolan Wells' case. Even so, Critics argue that failing to interview people who may have relevant information can create additional questions rather than provide answers. They believe every possible witness should be interviewed so investigators can compare statements, establish timelines, and either confirm or eliminate different possibilities. Others, however, point out that investigations often occur behind the scenes, and law enforcement is not required to publicly disclose every interview or investigative step while a case remains active. As many following the case already know, the Jackson County Sheriff's Department has previously stated that investigators have not found evidence indicating foul play at this stage of the investigation. That position has concerned many observers, including Nolan Wells' family, who believe additional questions still need to be answered before any conclusions are reached. Because of those concerns, Wells' family has retained civil rights attorney Benjamin Crump to help pursue an independent review of the circumstances surrounding Nolan's death. Along with requesting an independent investigation, the family has also sought a separate autopsy in hopes of obtaining additional information beyond the official findings. During a Friday press conference and the family's first public interview since Nolan's death, Crump addressed what he described as the family's desire for a transparent and trustworthy investigation. He also spoke about their concerns regarding the historical relationship between law enforcement investigations and young black men in Mississippi, explaining why the family believes every piece of evidence should be carefully examined before determining exactly what happened. According to Crump, the family is worried that the case could be prematurely viewed as an accidental drowning before every possible lead has been fully investigated.
At the same time, not everyone believes there is evidence suggesting a cover-up. Some people following the case think the tragedy may simply have been the result of an accidental drowning. One Facebook user, who claimed to have been on Horn Island that day, shared a lengthy post explaining why they believe that scenario is the most likely explanation based on decades of personal experience navigating those waters. The individual emphasized that their opinion was based entirely on personal observations and experience after spending more than 55 years boating in the area. They specifically stated that they did not believe racism, foul play, or a hate crime played any role in what happened. Instead, they suggested that Nolan may have remained on the island because he wanted to spend more time with a young woman he had been talking to and possibly planned to return later on another boat. The same person also offered a possible explanation for why Nolan reportedly left his phone on one of the boats. According to the post, when they were 18 years old, they often became distracted while spending time with someone they liked and occasionally forgot personal belongings. They suggested Nolan may have simply expected to retrieve his phone later after returning to the mainland. From there, the Facebook user theorized that Nolan may have wandered away from the main group, possibly to relieve himself, before unexpectedly entering an area with a powerful current. They explained that Horn Island's waters can change quickly and described a personal experience in which they nearly got swept away while cleaning their boat around 3 that afternoon. They also recalled another dangerous incident roughly 15 years earlier involving several other boaters at the same location, saying those experiences taught them just how dangerous the tides can become in only a matter of seconds. If someone has never experienced those waters firsthand, the commenter argued, it's difficult to understand how rapidly conditions can turn dangerous. Strong currents, changing tides, and limited visibility can create life-threatening situations with very little warning, even for experienced boaters. Still, that theory leaves many people with additional questions. If Nolan accidentally entered the water, why didn't anyone nearby notice? Reports generally suggest that when someone steps away from a group at the beach to relieve themselves, they usually remain only a short distance away rather than disappearing completely from view. Because of that, some people argue Nolan would likely have needed to walk much farther away from everyone else for no one to witness him entering the water if an accidental drowning occurred. As the investigation continues, many people believe the case currently centers around 2 broad possibilities. One theory is that Nolan entered the water while no one was paying attention and was tragically swept away by the current. The other is that there are still unanswered questions surrounding the people who were reportedly with him before he disappeared, particularly regarding the timeline of events after Nolan allegedly remained behind on the island while others left. Another issue that continues to generate discussion involves the Coast Guard. According to statements attributed to Nolan's friends, they believed Nolan had stayed behind on Horn Island. That has led some observers to wonder why the Coast Guard was reportedly contacted later that evening if everyone believed Nolan had intentionally remained on the island. One user on X summarized those concerns by asking several questions. If Nolan had simply chosen to stay behind with a girl, why was the Coast Guard reportedly contacted around 11 p.m.? Why was there initial confusion regarding communications involving the Coast Guard? And perhaps most importantly, if everyone believed Nolan was safe and simply spending time with someone else, what information caused them to seek help from a search and rescue agency later that night? The same post also raised another point that continues to fuel discussion online. Since Nolan's phone and keys were reportedly left with the friend group, how would he have contacted anyone if he suddenly found himself in danger? Without access to his phone, communicating that he needed help would have been extremely difficult, leaving many people wondering exactly what happened during those critical hours. For now, those questions remain unanswered, and investigators continue working to determine exactly what occurred on Horn Island. Until more verified information becomes available, many of the theories circulating online remain just that, unconfirmed speculation. As always, let me know what you think. Do you believe Javon Williams should have been formally interviewed much earlier in the investigation? Which explanation seems most consistent with the facts that have been made public so far? Or do you think there's another possibility investigators should examine? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's continue the discussion respectfully.